Hola, 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 mi gente. It is Friday, bitches! How is everybody? How is everybody? How is everybody?
We made it through another week.
We sure did. We are here. We are here. Okay, and that is Haran DeMarco on the instruments. Okay. We had Just Hear Me Out up here. I guess we lost him. He says he will try again when he gets home. Welcome, everyone. It's Friday. We made it. And no matter what happened this week, be happy that you're here because a lot of people didn't make it through the week. They did not. And we did. So thank you, lucky little stars or your gods or your theories or your whatever it is you believe in. While you're here on this Friday. Welcome to another episode of On the Block with Jen. I am YouTube and your favorite devil's advocate, On the Block with Jen. You can reach me on all social media platforms, On the Block with Jen at Gmail for business, okay? Do not go in there and ask me to marry you unless you're making at least $1 million a year. Yeah, I said that. All right, guys, so if you want to support the show, speaking of money, you want to help Mama keep the church lights on, Cash App On the Block with Jen as well, scrolling on the bottom. If you're catching the replay and you don't want nobody to know where your money is going, you want to sponsor the show, hit the Cash App On the Block with Jen. If you don't give a damn about what people see, where your money goes, then super chat. I'm getting a little feedback, guys, so somebody mute so I can see where it's coming from. Testing, 1, 2. Okay, it's gone now. All right, thank you. All right, beautiful panel, beautiful chat. Hold us down. We got a lot of things to talk about tonight, some things I found interesting on the timelines where I was like, whoa, okay. So I want to talk about those things tonight. Panel, introduce yourself. Can't hear you.
I was muted. Haran DeMarco, music producer, multi-instrumentalist. You can catch me as Dangerous DeMarco on IG, and you can catch me as Haran DeMarco under Spotify and Apple Music. Also, I'm gonna do something at some point in time on the block. I was thinking about taking you guys through an in-studio kind of tutorial. Maybe one day we'll do that specifically on the block. I'll actually build an actual track in front of you, bass, guitar, some piano, do all that stuff with drums and shit like that. Let you guys into my world.
Exciting. Looking forward to it.
Hello, everyone. I'm No Saint. You can catch me on YouTube right there. How can I do that? I don't know how Lily does it. There we go. Right there. No Saint 8007 on YouTube, and then saint.nosaint on IG. And you can catch me right here on The Block with Jen.
And I am Lily. That's YB Limited.
You are not, sir. You are not.
Heard it like 10,000 times, and I can't even repeat it. I am David Hand, aka Mr. David Hand on Instagram mostly, and I am a fashion and runway model here on these mean streets of New York, and also recovering from a career of corporate creative direction, but we don't really want to talk about that, do we?
Sometimes we do. Just hear me out. You can call from the car. That's fine, long as you don't have a lot of background noise. He said you look so different. I don't know which you're talking about.
Lily.
Lily, it's a joke.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I don't have my lashes.
Oh, okay. It's yes, Lily from YB Limited. The letter Y, the letter B, the word limited.
Thank you. That's how it went. I'm tired. It's been a day, y'all. Whee!
Oh yeah, Friday is always like that.
Oh.
And our doll is not here, okay? She has some business to take care of, and that's fine. We will hold it down for her. I will try to make the Lily faces tonight as best I can. Okay? In between my own what the fuck faces.
It's a lot of faces.
I was telling her that usually she's the soft energy that the panel needs because you and I are usually we're usually a freaking freight train. You know,
Are we? I think
energy.
I'm
Yeah,
so
we tend
nice.
you and I in a room together tend to be a bit much for people.
I'm so nice. I'm so nice. Guys, if you want to join, please feel free. I pinned the StreamYard link to the top if you want to come up and talk about any of these topics that we're going to be talking about tonight. We're going to kind of freestyle it tonight. There's a lot of things that I saw on the timelines, and I'm going to grab a couple and we'll discuss a couple.
I do have one thing that I can add. We don't have to talk about it much, but I do have something on my desk.
Okay, I mean, I didn't even finish, but yeah,
I'm sorry. Sorry for
jump
interrupting.
right in there. No saying. I mean, I wasn't even talking. But please, if anyone has anything from their desk, bring it up, and then I'll throw in my fluff after. What you got, No Saints? Here you go. Wait a minute.
Yeah. What you got? Oh, okay. Thank you. So, from the world of sports, I thought this was really interesting. So, about a couple of years ago, the Supreme Court ruled that the colleges can't use image and likeness without compensating the players. So that was that had never been done before. The NCAA would fine colleges, they'd dock them scholarships, they'd make them, sometimes they'd even kill the program if it was, quote unquote dirty, because for all these years somebody was sliding money into these players, especially the really good ones. They were getting paid, but you had to do it like under the guise of you had to hide it. So what's interesting is the Supreme Court struck, because like there was video games like NCAA football and basketball that it looked just like the player. They put their numbers on, and then you could get someone would type in all the names, and you could pass it around on the internet, and suddenly the game is saying their names as well. Plus, they look like them. Well, players sued and won. So here we are, a few years down the line, and certain states were making laws where you could basically be a nonprofit, and people built like millionaires, and they could donate money, and then they could give the money to the players, whatever players they were recruiting to come to that college, NIL deal. The NCAA came this week and said, I don't care what your state says. If you do this, we are going to punish you. And some of the states, like the governor or the college in North Carolina, college in Texas, say, I don't care. They're saying we're going to go with what the state law is. So there's a lawsuit. There's going to be some suits coming down here soon. And they don't know how to control this, because now there's, like, say for Texas, Florida, California, there's so many millionaires that can throw money into a pot, and the balance of powers could shift very much weighted in some of these states, especially I see Texas and Florida. Texas and Florida, I can see just being unbeatable if they have players making millions of dollars through these different boosters or these different nonprofit organizations. So it's going to be interesting because they don't know how to control it now. The genie's been let out of the bottle, and they don't really know how to regulate this. They asked Congress to step in, and Congress has yet to step in on this whole, this money going to, they don't know how to come, like the college can't pay the players. That's not what they're trying to find ways though, through other organizations to pay the players, but the players can make money off their likeness and image. So if Nike comes in and says, oh, LeBron James is playing for a college, hey, we're going to give you an NIL deal. Well, that's legal, but the college can't be the one, like the coaches can't come in and say, hey, we're going to get you a deal through Nike. That's not allowed, right? But now the states are making laws to where they are setting up organizations intentionally to recruit players like that. it's really it's becoming like Wild West. It's really becoming the Wild West.
I mean, isn't it a good thing? Aren't they making bajillions of dollars off those kids already?
Well, no,
even though they're not pro.
Yeah, right. So the players, it's good for the players that, I mean, the players that can get those really good deals, and some of them, like there's that one lady, I think she's an influencer at LSU that's making millions of dollars. She's pretty famous on the internet, making it. I don't know I can't remember what she does. I don't know if she's in gymnastics or something, but there are some people that are going to make a lot of money, and then there's some that aren't going to make. But no, the problem is, Jen, it's not that it's unfair that the players can make all this money. It's that now it's an arms race for the colleges, and they're trying to. The NCAA, who's the governing body, doesn't know how to make it kind of like an even playing field, so that, because it's almost like a victim of your own success. We talk about that here a lot when it comes to our species. A victim of your own success. Like suddenly you're so popular, and there's certain schools now that are it's almost going to be like the Yankees, where they can pay so much. I can't hear you.
You're going 10 different ways. What do you mean they don't know how to make it an even playing field?
Well, okay. Yeah. So, for instance, the University of Texas or Texas A&M, they have a whole lot of people with a whole lot of money, alumni, boosters, right? Mississippi doesn't. So Mississippi's already going to struggle, but I'm just saying Mississippi doesn't. So now all these players, like there's players from, I really want to go to Mississippi, but man, Texas is. It happened here in LSU. We had a player that was really good here, and Texas A&M beat out the bidding war of the NIL deal, right? And there's just a lot more money in certain states to where the competition could be like just in a few states. And that's why I was trying to bring up the Yankees. It's like the Yankees, they pay all these players. Well, the Yankees are almost always dominant. Sometimes they're not, but they're almost always good. And that's what they don't want to happen in college. At least the Power 5 conferences don't want that to happen. It's gonna.
I think they should have. I think I don't know. I think they should have a minimum salary at least for those players, whether they're superstars or not. I mean, those guys. I watched a documentary one time. I think it was on HBO. And they were talking specifically about the student players, and these guys break their bodies down very, very.
I saw that too.
Early. It was horrible. I had no idea. And then some of them can't wear certain clothes, and some of them can only wear Nike, but they're not making the millions of dollars that, the pro athletes are making. I'm like, yo, these people are making money hand over fist, and these guys are breaking down their bodies. Some of them end up with nothing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? After doing all that. So I think they should at least have a minimum salary.
No,
right?
I agree with you.
The superstars.
No, I agree with you there, but I agree with you. I thought because the universities, you see these stadiums and these workout rooms, they're almost. It's not like the one in Vegas, the big stadiums they're building, but they're really huge and the amenities are really nice. The only problem I see with this, and that's what I'm saying, there's going to be lawsuits coming up because the NCAA is going to hammer whoever breaks their rules, right? Even though they're not breaking the law. But it's funny how these states are making laws for this. So why are they doing that? Because it generates so much tax revenue. It generates so much income for those public universities. It just goes to show you how much money there is there, that there are states now trying to take advantage and get the advantage over other places because it generates so much money. And like you said, it's been free labor forever. Other than a scholarship, but that's paid for hand over fist.
It's long overdue. Get them boys their money, and them girls, get them their money.
And especially since they can't go to the pros, and especially in football, they can't go to the pros right out of high school. They have to play until their junior season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. That documentary really puts it in perspective. I was like, shit, sad shit. These kids be washed up at 23, knees messed up, back messed. It's horrible. It's like a meat market. And if you make it, you make it. That's how it is. Like a fucking Navy SEAL. You know what I mean? Make it, you make it. You make it good. We'll make some more money. Sad shit. So the Supreme Court is a bitch. Okay? Turns out, over the last 48 hours, the Supreme Court has banned affirmative action from college admissions, rejected Biden's student loan forgiveness plan, and allowed a business to refuse service to a gay couple. Supreme Court rules businesses can discriminate against LGBTQ people over the last 48 hours while we're all been scratching our butts and picking our noses. That is what the Supreme Court has been up to. What say you, panel?
Well, before Black people getting a big of an uproar over affirmative action being stripped away, it's been statistically proven that white women actually benefit more from affirmative action than Black people. And if you follow the money, Roe versus Wade.
Is it because they marry the Black men that go through and get rich?
No, it's one of the same reasons why. It's one of the same reasons why the civil rights movement really couldn't get any legs unless white women couldn't get a piece of that. And well, that's just how this works. Every amendment, everything that every minority or anyone living on the fringes of society, if white people can't get a piece, in some regard, it's not allowed. Even gay rights to a degree, white men are benefiting from this. So it is what it is. But anyway, I go on to also say that if you follow the money on this, also previously, Roe versus Wade was stripped away. Again, this affects white women. The white women were pissed. So I think this has been a series of chess moves to get the white woman back into the kitchen. Take away her ability to remove children, and also keeping her out of the workforce. Might be a bit of a chess move to get her back into the goddamn household.
That's a hell of a conspiracy.
Because the birth rate, particularly amongst whites, it's been dropping lately. So the white man who will put his foot down. Well, I understand that, David. I've heard about you. Anyway, particularly, white man will put his foot down. See, he's not like the Black man who talks that shit and lets his woman, still, make the decisions. They'll actually do something. So, those two situations. Oh, I'm always keeping 100. Those two situations. They seem to be a ploy. I will stand by this. They seem to be a ploy to push that white woman back into the kitchen, and it is what it is.
You really think it's that deep? That's because that would be like a conspiracy theory. You really think it's that deep? They're trying to get white women back in the kitchen and birthing. Really?
Listen.
For what purpose? Because I don't mind a conspiracy theory, but for what purpose?
White men are afraid to handle all these guns.
Say again.
And if you
go ahead.
If you really think about it, if you truly think about it, and the manner in which this country has been going, it's been pushing for the extreme left, and motherfuckers been fighting back. Okay, in droves. So I'm seeing this shit go extremely. They're gonna push for this shit to go extremely right. Okay, and extremely right means the white woman back in the kitchen. Extremely right means the white man actually coming back to his corners. Extremely right means us going back to traditional American, traditions and shit like that. I see it happening.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
just hear me out. Says, yeah, that's a huge stretch. I also see No Saint nodding his head and smiling. No Saint, what you got to say about this? It seems a little Twilight Zone-y to me.
Well, this is what so of the different rulings. So the affirmative action is right now is strictly for admission into colleges, right? Mm-hmm. And they're saying they're not going to base admission into college strict. They're not giving points for race now, and they're under the guise that it was discriminating against Asians, I think is what they were saying. But this is an argument they've had. I've been hearing forever. like in white people's circles about, affirmative action. That's double racism or whatever it is, reverse racism. So right now it's just for colleges, but they're gonna bet your life they're gonna next go for the workplace. They're gonna be trying to strike it from corporations, and so on the student loan, you're gonna be surprised, and I hope George is out there listening. You're gonna be surprised. I kind of agree with the Supreme Court on this. And the only reason I agree with the Supreme Court on this is because it's simply saying that Biden overstepped his duties, overstepped his powers by getting rid of $400 billion worth of debt without going through Congress. He didn't say you can't make a law or you can't go through Congress. They didn't say you can't do a law and go through Congress and forgive the loan. On the other hand, when I hear people complaining about, where am I going to get my forgiveness? This is what's really interesting about student debt and student loans. Where else does an 18-year-old get that sign over? As soon as they're, most of the time college students are 18, they sign a contract, take on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. Most of the time, I don't even think it should be allowed if your degree is not going to net you some kind of net worth that you're going to be able to actually pay that off in a decent amount of time. Like, yeah, doctors, but if you're getting a business degree, you're never going to make that money back that you're paying to the college. It's not even worth it. So what I find interesting, though, is that so you're giving huge loans to 18-year-olds who've never had credit, who can't get credit other than a student loan. And it's the only loan that you can't get forgiveness on. You can go, if I run up my credit and I can't pay, I can go to Chapter 7, Chapter 13 bankruptcy and get forgiveness. It's bizarre, but it all comes back to who's making money and who's, influencing lawmakers and influencing, it all goes back to that. There's a lot of money to be made off of students, but I just think it's bizarre. So I don't agree that I do want some kind of forgiveness or some kind of control or maybe a tax break. Maybe like, listen, you can write this off. This debt you have, you don't have, something, because I think it is unfair. I think the price for colleges now is when you hear the old 50, 60-year-olds say, I didn't get a student. Yeah, your college was probably like 30 grand. These guys are getting like 200, 250, 400,000 worth of debt, and so so on that I kind of agree with, but on the ruling I do sort of agree. And then on the gay, you don't have to service something off of your religious beliefs. This is what I'm going to ask Mr. David there is, why would you want to go to somebody that doesn't want to do it? To me, why do you want to give somebody like your money?
That was kind of like my question too. I was like, do you care? Like,
look,
do you care?
We're in places where there are, I could pull up Yelp right now and there's probably, 100 bakeries within a mile of me. And maybe that's a conservative estimate. But if I'm in some little one-horse town and there's only one bakery, and it's run by a fundamentalist Christian whose belief in fiction overrides my biology, that's where we have the problem.
Understood. No, Saint, I agree with you. I think that Biden and his team always knew that dog wouldn't bark, because it was a nice little talking point to get his ass into office, and he's shaking it around a little bit, this close to the election year to make it seem like he's doing something. But there's no way in hell that shit was going to pass. The American middle class was not going to take on, that much, money in debt. Somebody has to pay it. It doesn't just go poof in the air. Someone would have to pay it. And the middle class was not going to do it. The rich were damn sure weren't going to do it, and the poor can't. So in these situations, it's usually the middle class to the rescue, and they weren't trying to hear it.
Ty Rivera says, I guess I don't need a cake if I'm in that one horse town. Don't nobody need cake.
Right.
Speak for yourself. I need cake. I need cake.
And Jen, I just want to add on to what I said about the reason I agree with the Supreme Court. I think it's not just this decision. I think for a while now, and it started. Really, I remember with Bush, it might have been Clinton, where these executive orders just started overriding everything that Congress is supposed to do. I think the president, the last 3 or 4 have been overstepping their boundaries for a while now, anyway, for a while. So that's why I'm saying I kind of agree. Yeah, you can't just go and you're the executive, you have, legislative who's supposed to make the laws and pass it, they have the purse strings, and judiciary is supposed to call balls and strikes, basically.
Well, why aren't we scaling tuition? Anyway, I mean, I'm sure at some level we do, but why aren't we? And it's funny also that affirmative action blends into that. How like wealthy legacy students, some little douchebag with a rich father alumni, gets into the school, but the 5.0 average, kid of color doesn't. Not to mention the fact that I read, stories that Clarence Thomas, the ultimate white man, benefited from affirmative action himself.
Yeah, benefited greatly.
I mean,
right.
Pulled up the ladder
from his mayonnaise empire.
Ty Rivera says he's just saying hi to the panel. We love you, Ty. Please come back. Please come back. We don't. It doesn't only have to be on a 2S LGBTQIA plus. I got them all.
ESPN.
Yes, it doesn't. ESPN. It doesn't only have to be that subject. You have amazing freaking opinions. Come up,
Absolutely.
Mikasa Sukasa. Come up whenever you like. What's up? Welcome, Kari. I'm a little stuck on this, guys. Look, I think conspiracy theories are fun, but I'm just like, okay, here we are, America. You think there's this huge plan to shut down white women from the workforce and get them back in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant?
I think
Is that really what y'all think? But you really think there's even a chance of that happening? Like, that's like trying to turn back the clock.
What would stop them?
The women will just keep working. You'd have to fire all the white women all over the place and then give a reason why you're firing them.
I mean, there's a number of white women who say they don't want to work. Good, that number's growing. As a matter of fact, Wide back over there is saying that white women should not be able to vote. She's been going great with that talking point. Or whale back.
Well, and we've been fighting, pay equity for women, and we're still not there. Women still don't make what men make. And white men increasing their power in government can just continue and then even widen that divide once again and go back in time. I mean, I understand what you're saying, Haran. It tracks in my head. I don't see a big conspiracy theory. It's like
listen. But listen, in the corporate world, anytime I need the CEO or the boss to do something, I go to her fucking secretary. I don't go directly to his fucking ass. Go to his fucking secretary. You know what I mean? I'm cool with his secretary. We talk or whatever, and I make sure she puts that in his ear. You know what I mean? And look at this manosphere shit. Do you just think that it's just these weirdos online with these thinking with this brand of thinking? No, there's men out there with power too, in these houses, in these congressional hearings and so on and so forth, who think exactly like these incels. They just may not be communicating that in public forums and so on, but don't think that it's just a local thing.
Interesting. Prince of the Moon says, when it comes to the affirmative action, most of the argument was against how it discriminates against Asian Americans, as affirmative action favors Black students. Currently hard.
Oh, and it favors Asians also benefit from it. So Asians might be having a problem too. We're going to see how this shapes in about a couple of years. We're going to see who really bought it and who really is out here making shit.
You're gonna see a majority white people in college like you did in like the 70s and 60s and things like that. It's gonna go back to that not too long.
POP says, Haran, your theory was a huge plot point in the show The Handmaid's Tale. In that show, it happens. But when you say you're gonna see majority white people, who's stopping Asians, Black, Latin from going to college? Who's stopping them?
The universities and schools, the same people that was doing it before affirmative action. will be the same
So
people that do it afterwards.
Okay, so you think that Black, Latin, Asians are going to apply, and the white powers that be in the universities are going to be like, no, next, no, next, no, next, and be able to get away with it? I mean, if you have the grades, if you have the grades and the resume, why would you be turned away? Because you're Black, because you're Asian, because you're Latin? Is that what you're saying is going to happen? I'm asking.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes and no, though. Yes and no, because there's 2 points to this. Okay, when we're dealing with Harvard and Yale and so on, yeah, things get a little tricky. But the buck doesn't stop there. You can go to you don't have to go to an Ivy League school. Okay,
right.
You can go to community college. You can do whatever. You know what I mean? Look, listen. Let's just call it what it is. Unless you're being a doctor or a fucking lawyer, you know what I mean, a Yale degree or Harvard degree, it really doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? As long as you go to an accredited school, you know what you're doing, you know what I mean, and you're clearly capable, and you have a college degree that shows that, then yes, you can make a life for yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah, you don't necessarily have to go to an Ivy League school.
That's what I was going to say. I think that, I don't think it's, because when you look at the public universities, I don't think it's going to affect that one way or the other. In fact, now what Harvard, I know what they're talking about at Harvard is that I believe the Supreme Court said you could talk about your experiences as a person of color on your essay to get into college, and Harvard. And so I think lawsuits will come up in the future is that Harvard will select certain Black students because they're not sitting back. The universities don't actually want to. They want the diversity in their colleges, but they also, what was really interesting is that now the target, as Mr. David was saying, is they're talking about these legacy students. They're going to start going after them because these students that are getting in because their dad got in and donated, $5 million to the university. They may cut those guys off. So, it might be a little pushback on that. But as far as I don't think it's going to go back to the time where the historically Black universities were the only place that Black people could go to college. I don't think it'll go there because, and let's face it, there's too many billions of dollars being made with Black athletes in white schools. So,
let me correct my statement. It won't be all schools, but definitely the Ivy League schools, the big prominent schools, I think will definitely be affected the most.
And a lot of schools
are making diversity commitments in the face of this decision. Also, I've seen some of that in the press, but I definitely, Haran, you can get a worthwhile education at any accredited institution. Absolutely. But the weight of an Ivy League, of an Ivy League school on your resume, that
absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely. I mean, if you're a Harvard grad, come on, or Yale. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that life doesn't end there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And Ty is right. People of color do need to step it up. Look, Black people, let me explain something to y'all. A lot of these kids ain't even high school material. Okay. So for you to really sit here and worry about college right now, let's just worry about the basics, okay? Let's just worry about the basics with these kids right now, okay? Let's do that. All right. I'll pass the mic on that.
Prince of the Moon says current Harvard, for example, accepts Black students at 56.1%, while Asians are at 12.7% and whites at 15.3%. They found an issue with the way affirmative action is applied and want to equal things. I'm with Ty Rivera. I'm also a graduate of the 9th grade, just like Malcolm X and Ty Rivera. We're in good company, baby. We're in good company.
I'm an 8th grade graduate. Though,
there you go.
I did give college a try. Somehow I got into college. I went for like 1 year, and I tried to get a loan before college. Nobody gave me a loan, like Saint said, but they definitely gave me about $20,000 to go to school, which after 1 year, I owed $20,000.
Right. Yeah.
I would say this. I would say this. I'm a college grad, and I spent more. I met smarter people spending a night in jail. So it is what it is. Okay.
Same.
Okay.
Same.
Okay. So it is what it is.
Right. Although when we bring that up, I always like to say, even the athletes, there's no idiots are going to Stanford University.
Right.
You can be the best athlete in the world. You go into Stanford or some of those MIT, Harvard, Penn.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
You're smart.
I don't know. You might be smart, but you could still be an idiot.
Yeah. You're talking about like common sense versus
right.
Yeah.
You might know everything in every books, but
educated
you
person.
get scammed by everybody.
Prince of the Moon says also, why would I as a gay man go to an Amish local bakery asking for a gay themed cake for me and my husband? These people don't even watch TV. Time and place. Freedom applies to everyone.
Religious freedom, again, is freedom to practice the fiction of your choice. All right. Human rights when it comes to being gay is a matter of biology, you know.
But isn't that also freedom, David? Like the freedom to believe in a fairy tale, let's say. Aren't people free to believe in their fairy tales as well?
Not when it affects other people's lives. You know what I mean? Like, and I know we're talking about cake here, but and I am thinking of those extreme examples of when you don't have, you know, options. There's one local bakery. What are you going to, you know, and you don't have the wherewithal to fly your cake in from a French patisserie.
Everything is about proximity. Everything is about proximity. Let me just say one thing, Todd. Everything is, excuse me, Kyrie. Everything is about proximity. Like, for instance, I tell people, it's not that New York isn't racist, it's that New York can't afford to be racist, okay? Everybody has to deal with each other. Everybody has to make money with each other. You know what I mean? There's a Thai spot on one block, then there's a Jamaican spot on another, then there's, you know what I mean, some, you know what I mean, trying to make money on the other side. So everybody has to kind of deal with each other in New York. It's a melting pot, as opposed to what you're saying, David, in West Bubblefuck, Nebraska. You know what I mean? If you live out there, you kind of have to deal with, you know what I mean, you know, Cecil and Okie Poke and all those motherfuckers with their wild-eyed ideas. So it makes sense.
Not Cecil. What would we say though? Just devil's advocate. Would we say that's a first world problem? Like, oh, you can't get your gay cake. Let this guy believe in the blue Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Let him believe in his blue Jesus. You can't get a gay cake. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Let that lovely cake. A couple have a Stouffer's lasagna instead of a cake, you know.
It is very much
fuck their dreams.
I feel like they should.
Touche.
I'm kind of like on both sides. Like I feel like okay, they should have to sell a cake, but then I'm on the other side. Like if I owned a bakery and somebody walked in with a fucking Ku Klux Klan hood on, I'm gonna be like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know
I mean, there is that thing of this is my business, and you know, I control it, and I say, but you know, I guess I kind of go back to that obligation when, you know, when your choices are really limited and that's all you can do. It's a shame that, and it's, you know, it's something of this nature. Like, what is God going to smite you for putting Steve and Phil on a cake? Like, big fucking deal.
I'd be really interested.
Gay people learn to bake immediately.
Exactly, right? I'll make some fondant.
I'd be really interested to know how many of these bakeries that refuse to put Steve and Phil on the cake will bake the penis cakes for the bachelorette party.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying.
Right. Probably
whipping up the custard right now.
Probably won't.
Maybe
if they're that prude, you know, if they're that prudish. Kari, what is happening? What is going on? And your hand was
champagne.
A little high.
He's celebrating with champagne. That's what he's doing.
Your hand was a little high, I'm sure, Kari.
Oh shit! Kari
was way up here. You should be somewhere down here in this vicinity, Kari. Come on.
Well, I had to be on camera. I
got it. Misty Unicorn.
Wow, this escalated quickly.
Very fast.
Yes.
Thank you. Always on a Friday.
Friday night.
Salute. Misty Unicorn says, intelligence is relative. I could tell you all about education, but nothing about electrical engineering, for example. This comment here as well is interesting. Tyra Vera says, exactly. KKK walks in. Lesbians do cake. Okay, so Prince of the Moon says we should be judging people on their merit in school, not their skin color, period. They found it favored a certain group and are shutting it down. If this was an issue with whites, it's racism. And the statistics that I pointed out are all true. There are charts online that state this. Black students get favored due to affirmative action. So let me ask this. Is it okay that Black students get favored because they helped to build the country for 500 years and then white man got the free labor all these fucking years? So get the Black people that school. Yay or nay?
Well, I
You
don't
know,
have no problem. I have no problem with Black students being favored for all the years that they were disfavored and not favored and thrown to the side and just totally ignored. So, I ain't got no problem.
you know how I feel about this. I've said reparations should be free education, amongst other things, as well as he's right. Like 50 years of affirmative action is not closing the gap for the hundreds of years that 300 years that they were held out of things. So, this guy's acting like meritocracy is in play, and it's not. I mean, we see it in loans. We see person of color makes the same amount as the white person. They go in, person of color gets denied, white person gets in. Same exact resume. We've seen the studies. If I have to go grab it and bring it on the next show, we've seen the studies on that, and it's just so yeah. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go in the other direction. I'm gonna go in the other direction with this one.
Oh my God, traitor!
I'm glad.
Yeah, race traitor.
I'm glad
Go
it's because he didn't do much when it was here.
Oh.
So now that it's gone, maybe there'll be a bit more of an incentive for you to put the work in. Maybe a little pressure is what's needed in the community. You know what I mean? Now to be clear, I want our people to be the best versions of ourselves, and I want us to be the shining pillar of excellence that I know that we are capable of. However, I also think that a little get down or lay down needs to happen in order for that to spin. I think it's necessary.
Prince of the Moon, you can cam up if you like, long as you put your face on camera for us. You can cam up. He popping off in the chat.
Haran, were you at the top of your class when you graduated and applied to college?
No, I was not. I actually was going to go to Baruch. I signed up late so I couldn't get in. So I figured, fuck it, let me just find something. And I happened to get into LIU. And okay. I got into LIU. Very funny story. I got into LIU, and my first year, I almost was expelled because of my GPA. My GPA was a 1. I didn't go to school, man. I didn't go to class. I went in there. I saw the fucking. Yeah, I saw the nightclub. I saw the chicks. I saw the. Wait a minute. You mean I don't have to go to class? Like I saw the bros. I saw everything. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And then the dean sat me down. Yeah, dean sat me down. And was like, hey man, what are you doing? So eventually, though, I graduated with a 4.0 though.
Okay, and the only reason why I asked was, say a student that was better than you in school, maybe not the top of their class, but somewhere towards the top, is a black student. They want to go to a school. They got the good grades, but now white students with lower grades are being considered before them.
I'll give you another one. Take that same black person, that black student with those same credentials, put them up against another black student who might just be a fucking lackadaisical ass, but their parents are rich. Now what? What if that black kid gets in? The black kid with the shit grades and the rich black parents.
If the black parents was able to pad somebody's pockets, I can't.
But it's still a black person, right?
You know.
But it's still a black person, right?
But they'll pad somebody's pocket just like a white person. You know.
But this is what the point that I'm making. Are you mad that it's a black person, or do you want a capable person? And you know what I mean to get.
I want a capable person. I'm mad that the school would allow the padding to happen, whether black or white. You know, I would rather somebody let in on their merit. And I know prior to affirmative action, a lot of black students were being turned away, even though their merit said that they should be accepted.
I will not disagree that that is the case, but a lot of that's happened to a number of students. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's about money.
Right.
It's
And
about money and privilege.
And I don't think affirmative action was benefiting people that had grades like me. That was like, if I would have finished school, I probably would have finished with the bare minimum to fucking get out of fucking high school, you know? Even though I only did half a year of ninth grade before I said fuck it and got my GED at 16, you know?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I would have benefited from affirmative action.
Well, here's the
My
thing.
grade just wasn't good enough.
Here's the funny thing about it. You are a software engineer, right? And software engineers, I know what software engineers make. You're a gentleman with a GED. You said you dropped out at, you know what I mean, what was it, 8th grade?
Yeah, pretty much. I graduated 8th grade, went to 9th grade, went half the year, and started being on the streets.
Essentially, under even with making those choices and under those circumstances, you still found the drive and the need to win, right?
Right. Yeah.
So Jen drops out at 9th grade, and she's still a very capable and intelligent woman, right?
Right.
So one would contend that even with things like affirmative action or no affirmative action, some motherfuckers are just going to win, and a lot of motherfuckers are just going to lose.
Yes, but there's a lot of people that think they're supposed to win because they followed what the
Well, that's been the beginning of time, sir. That's been the beginning of time.
That's not race. That's not race
exactly.
specific.
That's not race specific at all.
That one is race specific.
Here's the problem with race. And David, and no saying, I feel you can. I'm sure they can attest to this. Here is the problem with race: the fact that we have a white majority, we assume that everyone who is white is capable. No, sir. There's a bunch of white people who are morons. There's just enough white people, though, who happen to be capable, who just seem to see. They can afford the blood. They can afford the waste. They can afford the morons. It seems like a bigger hit for us because we can't afford the morons. There's still, mathematically speaking, the same number of fucking idiots to capable people ratio. It's just the capable people are always going to be small in the minority because there's just that many people in the majority. So the capable people, I guarantee you, will always find a way because that is what capable people do.
Amen.
So with it gone, motherfuckers still gonna make something shake.
Ron, I mean, I made that point the other day when I said that we can afford to cut bait with all the people that are in a trailer park and not say, hey, we gotta all stick together. No, we don't have to all stick together, you know. But in in particular in the minority communities, they feel like they have to stick together because I'm assuming because it's a smaller group and the oppression and everything like that. Yeah.
I understand the logic, but it's still detrimental because we can't have the shit portion of our people as the forefront of the brand. It's just we just don't have that kind of room for everything.
But that's the brand, Haran. That's what's unfortunate.
And that's the problem.
Dumminess?
Yes.
Huh?
The brand is dummy.
BET Awards. Yes. The BET Awards is essentially the
that's
Black
the
American
mainstream,
brand.
and it's mainstream. It is mainstream.
Can I say something, Jen, to that? Because I was going to say it the other night with the BET Award thing. And I understand because there's so little portrayal of positive things when it comes to the Black community on TV. That the BET thing stands out. But I was thinking when you guys were saying that, I'm like, all these channels, MTV went to shit. They stopped playing videos. They played trash TV. The Learning Channel. It used to be the Learning Channel. They went to trash TV. Because why? Because American people want to see junk.
Okay, but it goes back to what we were talking about a few seconds ago. You guys can afford that.
Yes.
Because the government is disproportionately
agree. And that's what
business is disproportionately white, government disproportionately white, banks disproportionately, everything is disproportionately white in this country. So you can afford to have two bimbos throwing drinks at each other on
Yes.
Like Jerry Springer happened for 30 years. Jerry Springer happened for 30 years.
Right,
The white
Right.
brand did not change. Okay, the white brand
No,
did not
and that's
change.
Jen, that's exactly why I said it goes back to that's the one image. You know, you don't have a lot of images out there, so it's a lot more magnified on BET. You know what you were. So I was agreeing with you, but I was just saying like all those TVs are showing shit. You know.
So let me ask I'm gonna ask a very controversial question to the chat and to the panel. Okay, I'm gonna ask something very controversial. It's gonna crunch some buttholes. Ty Rivera says exactly. When you're from a smaller group, you need better representation.
Absolutely.
I agree. So let me ask you this, right? Because I hear, and a lot of white people co-sign this too. Like No Saint said earlier, well, you know, 50 years of affirmative action is no match for the 500 years of slavery, blah, blah, blah. Let me ask you this. If you are responsible, hypothetically, of course, if you are responsible for running somebody over, somebody who was healthy, happy, functioning, productive, making a lot of money, you're responsible for running them over. Now they are a paraplegic in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
Is it more beneficial that you make up for it by wheeling them around, or is it more beneficial that that person is forced to go into physical therapy and learn to live again and learn to be functioning in their capacity? Like learn which one is more beneficial, do you think? You wheeling them around forever because they're in a wheelchair now, or that person being forced to be functional again on their own?
I'll pay for their medical bills.
You'll pay for the medical bills.
My insurance will pay for their medical bills.
Okay, so this is why I'm asking. This is why I'm asking because.
But they should be forced to learn on their own if they're capable.
Okay, so this is why I'm asking, because I hear a lot of, no, we need affirmative action for Black people. We need, you know, they built the country. We have to make up for that. There's a constant kind of like, let's make up for it. But look at where everyone is right now. Is it beneficial? Is it more beneficial for the Black community to constantly be helped because of slavery? And I'm talking about the Black people that are living now. I'm not talking about the Black people that were just freed after slavery. Because you would think the ones that were just freed need 100% help. Because they're out in the world, you threw them out off the plantation. They had nowhere to go. They had no vehicles. They had no money. They had barely spoke the language. You know what I mean? I understand that. But I'm saying in 2023, do you still have to help Black people the way you should have helped them way back when? Is it helping? Is it helping them? Or are you wheeling them around in the wheelchair and making it worse for them?
I'll be real quick. I think with Jen's analogy, I think that Black people still need help because with your analogy of getting forced to get up and make yourself better, I think without affirmative action, what's that?
Will help with what? Can you
help? No, with Jen's analogy of making yourself get up and get better and be able to walk and stuff like that. With her analogy, I think affirmative action in that analogy is not allowing the people that's supposed to help you get up kick over your crutch while you're trying to walk. You know, I feel without affirmative action, that crutch can get kicked out from underneath you while you're trying to build yourself up.
I just think that at some point in time, you have to learn to, you have to regain your independence, regardless of what life throws at you. You have to be able to regain your independence, your self-sufficiency. I mean, I get it, but to be damned, you can't just keep apologizing, nor do I want to hear someone keep apologizing for the rest of my fucking life, or trying to help me out.
It reminds me of when in a marriage, really quickly, it reminds me in a marriage of when the man cheats and the woman is mad, and she never gets over it. And he's constantly apologizing. And after a while, that man snaps. He snaps. He's like, I can't do this anymore. And then she's like, wait a minute, you violated me. He was like, I can't do it. I've been apologizing for 3 years. Either move the fuck on or I got to go. It's kind of like similar. And we're seeing other ethnicities and races pushing back now where they're not giving a fuck anymore. And when that happens, in my opinion, that is when you've done too much. When even the allies are fed up with you. You don't think so? I think so.
Okay, listen. Let's just take race out of this. Let's just look at this from a perspective of human nature. A lot of people there's a lot of dirty secrets in the black community that we don't like to talk about. A lot of times in the black community and in the brown community, and fuck it, if you come from any goddamn poor, community or poor family, the moment you get up on a lick, or if you got a great job, you got a great situation going on, and so many people in your immediate family don't have that, what's the main thing that happens? Everybody's calling you for money. Everybody's calling you for a favor. Everybody's expecting you to do this. And the moment you fucking stop, you've turned your back on the family, you've done this, you got to look out for people constantly. No. At what point in time do you, sir, who is also a 40-something-year-old or 50-something-year-old with 2 working legs and a barely decent functional back, when do you go out there and actually go out and kill a couple of fucking buffaloes on your own, drag it home, and cook it up and chop it up? Like, when does that happen? Okay? When does it happen?
Well,
you can't be dependent on the government for the rest of your life.
I don't believe that having the opportunity to go to, and we're talking about prestigious colleges, I'm sure, because public, I think everybody's going to, I don't think that's going to change a bit. But I don't believe having that opportunity is wheelbarrowing somebody around. I think, now, if you give people those opportunities, and if certain people don't take those opportunities, and then that's on them. But I don't think I just think I just don't understand how that's a problem.
So you're saying throw out the help, push them around the wheelchair, throw out reparations, throw affirmative action. If you're black, you get the job over that person because you're black, and whether they use it or not, it doesn't matter. Just keep throwing it out there. And you think that helps the black community?
I kind of feel like y'all are looking at affirmative
action. No, wait, let no saint answer.
So we're looking I'm talking about the college right now. I'm talking about college education. Mm-hmm. When it comes to college education.
Well, I was talking about the whole thing, because it's not, they don't just help minorities in college. There's a lot of other shit going on.
So, when it comes to reparations, I said, and I've said this before, so you're going to hear it again, I guess, but that I think there's a way to structure it to where it can be more of certain programs. Because when we talk about reparations, if my great grandfather had some money and suddenly I end up without that money, it's nobody's business on what I do with it. It's owed to me. They did generational wealth. But that's about generational wealth. Although sometimes I don't necessarily agree we should have generational wealth. But so what I'm saying, I think that I don't think that I don't want to bring Trump into it. I don't think some other rich guy. I don't think Bill Gates' son should start, at the finish line because Bill Gates invented something. I think that money should go back and serve. But I'm sure I'm going to get some tomatoes.
Yeah. Well, you just got a tomato from me.
I mean, do you don't understand? Like, in other words, we have. I swear I don't want to bring up Trump. We had Trump's dad make a lot of money, or the Rockefellers, and suddenly their whole family doesn't have to contribute to society at all. They're just rich. They're just rich because somebody 200 years ago. So, all right. So if that doesn't bother you, then reparations shouldn't bother you, because people made billions of dollars off of people and they're owed money no matter what they do.
False equivalency.
It is a very false equivalency.
that's a God damn, that was an end zone shit.
All right. So you tell me. Why, if someone has made a lot of money, and I don't care if it was 10 years ago, you wouldn't even say. You say, no, that person's owed that money. So just because it's, 150 years ago, you think people aren't owed money?
Yes.
Off of their, so then why is there such a pushback on reparations?
No. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I think the enslaved, once they were freed, I think they were owed everything. I think they were owed everything. When
they were free, they were promised 40 acres and a mule, and then they were promised 40 acres and a mule, and then the government.
I'm sorry. I don't think in 2023 anybody's owed a 40 acres and a mule. I do not. I do. I don't care how angry that makes me.
Okay, so
I do not. I don't.
Somebody owe me $100 from 10 years ago. I want my $100.
Plus interest.
I don't.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think the Queen of England owes me anything. You know what
I just don't. And not only that, who has the fucking time? Who
The
has the
king
fucking
rather.
time to sit around and wait? It's like, oh, we're gonna get this check. Not only that, I think there's way bigger fish to fry, especially coming from where we come from, people of color. There's still way bigger fish to fry. The PPP loans came out, everybody ran out and bought fucking Jordans and jewelry. And let's not pretend. Let's not pretend that there's a huge fuckery fuck up factor in our communities. Why are we ignoring that during this conversation? What the fuck do you think is going to happen if a check of reparations is cut? I said this before. I want that reparations check so they can give it back to the white people that they hate. Fucking cut the check already. Cut the check.
Is this a morality thing? Is this about principle or is this about money? Which one is it about?
Well, listen.
I think there's some white guilt. I think there's some white guilt.
No. I look at things as what's fair is fair. And if you're telling me that somebody can make $1 million and pass it down to their great grandchildren, then it's fair that those people that worked and didn't get the money, but they were owed the money, should have been able to have the opportunity to pass that down. And so now we can pass it down, or it's well overdue. We should. I
think in a world where, especially in a country where there are now black billionaires running around, I think that shit is BS. That's just my opinion. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. We are not on the plantation anymore. Dr. Octagon says, "What about blacks that supported slavery back then? There were black people."
White.
No, but it's a fact. It's a fact.
Right.
Well, we're talking about the outliers, though, right? We're not talking about the majority.
Are we? Right. Outliers or not, do they owe black people as well? Because you're saying people should be.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes. If they had been, if they were $1 billion, if they were like some of these banks that were making money off of slavery and some of these corporations that we know were making, if they own that corporation, yes, they owe too.
You know what's funny? No, Saint. I bet you 10-1 black people wouldn't agree with you.
Oh, maybe not. But
they would not agree with
Emancipation Proclamation. Wow, I can't even speak tonight. I'm that tired. If at the moment that happened, if part and parcel was that, okay, slaves are free, and there's no white supremacy, right? We can no longer stack the cards in the favor of the white people. Everything is an even playing field now. That's kind of the scenario that I'm getting from you, Jen. Pay off the slaves that were freed. Everyone else can just deal with the fact that the cards have been in the favor of white people and continue to be in this country.
No, absolutely.
Centuries.
We've had a black president. We have black billionaires. Absolutely. Yes. I would tell my own kids that. I would tell my own children who are white birthed that.
You would tell them what?
I would tell them fucking deal with the world the way it is. Fucking deal with it. See, but here's the thing. I'm coming from a place. Wait, let me just say this really quickly. Mm-hmm. I'm coming from a place, David, when you say, and I've heard people say this before. Yeah, Latin people, black people have said this. So yeah, but it's always been unfair on white people. I say it. White, the country is disproportionately white power, right? But however, I wasn't raised that way. I don't give a fuck about a cracker. I don't give a fuck about a white man. I don't give a fuck about the disproportionately white government. I don't vote. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't give a fuck. This is how Jen thinks. If I want something, I go fucking get it. No one's going to stop me. You throw away my resume, I'm going to take it over there. You throw away my resume, I'm going to start this business. You fuck with me, I'm going to make money over here. That is how Jen thinks. That is how Jen raises her children and her grandchildren. So no one can scare me or intimidate me or make me feel like, oh, there's no hope because the white monster under the bed and the white monster in the closet. My brain does not work that way. No gods, no masters. Okay, that includes religion, that includes white men who walk the earth. I don't think that way. So when I hear someone say, oh, so fuck it, so you don't care that it's uneven and white people, no, I don't give a fuck about white people and what they rule, whatever. And that's why the Rockefellers don't bother me. That's why the Trumps don't bother me. They don't bother me. And I see it as they made, right? No Saint said they made billions. They fucking made it. If you made millions of dollars and I told you don't pass that shit down to your grandchildren, give it back to the fucking homeless people, you'd have something to say about it. You'd say, wait a minute, I made that money. My children are old. My children are entitled to that money. But I come in and say, no, your children aren't entitled to shit because you made billions. You need to give it back to the community. That's asinine. Who does that? Who works for their money and then says, I don't deserve this money. Give it to the poor people. Who does that?
Strangely enough, there are some white people who said my kids ain't getting shit. Like Daniel
Yes,
Craig said.
yes.
Daniel Craig said, I'm not giving my kids that.
Yes.
No, yes, there are. But here's the thing. It's their decision because they
Absolutely.
made that money.
Absolutely.
Okay?
And
They
I get
made
it.
that money. So it's up to them who gets that money. You can't say there shouldn't be rich people in the world because you don't deserve what they fucking made. Don't charge it to the game. Don't knock the hustle.
Well, I know, I get what you're saying, but I'm on this panel a lot and I hear about how people are useless. And to me, after about the first generation, all those people are there's some, not all, are useless. They don't add anything to society. So when we talk about eugenics and people that shouldn't be in the world, those rich people shouldn't be in the world then.
Okay, so then it goes to this comment right here. Who was it that said it? This person here. If you hit my car, you pay. Ain't nobody's business what I do with the money. So then it ain't your business what wealthy people do with their money. You see how that works?
Mm-hmm.
You see how that? If it's nobody's business what you do. Right, exactly. It is. It still applies. If it's nobody's business that you're gonna go run up fucking Nike stock and the Jordan stock after you get your reparations check, then it's not your business what billionaires do with their money. You see how that works?
But
You run up the Nike stock and let the billionaires pass down their money generationally.
What you saying, David?
Do we compel them to pay more taxes so
right,
that we
that's
can
another
build
thing.
better systems and infrastructures to help the disadvantaged? No, we give them a fucking pass. That's your team right there, Jen. Bravo, you made all that money. Keep it. Do whatever you want with it.
Well,
my team is
it's not
you.
us, it's the government.
A poor person pays
the lawmakers.
35% of their meager salary to the government in taxes, and these rich bitches pay nothing.
I'm sorry.
Yes, they do create some jobs, and they are these captains of industry, but greed knows no bounds in this country or anywhere on this planet.
I'm sorry,
and
David.
people with that kind of money
saying.
don't even delve into issues of race because they don't have to.
I get what you're saying, David.
Anything.
I get it. I even respect it. I understand the point of view. Trust me, I understand. It's like, it's unfair. You rich bastards. Look at Skid Row in California. How dare you let these I charge it to the game, man. I charge it to the game. As horrible as it is, as fucking horrible as it sounds.
Who made the game?
They did.
Who's they?
Yeah.
Who's they?
The white
What
people.
color are they? Yes.
The white people.
Yes.
But here's the thing.
But we still got to deal with it.
But here's the thing.
Well, we
But
though
this is
we
why-
keep electing
but
these
this is the thing.
cunts. You know?
But David, this is why I don't complain, because I don't elect the cunts and then complain. I don't have it. This is why I don't vote. All I do is watch y'all vote and watch y'all complain for the next 4 years. Then I see you do it again. It's a form of insanity. It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. There's never been a president in place that gave a fuck about anybody. And this is what I will not do. And this is why I remove myself from it and I charge it to the game, because I am not a complainer. People are like, if you don't vote, you can't complain. When the fuck have you ever heard me complain about a president or a governor or a mayor? That is your problem. The voters, that's your problem. That ain't my problem.
Okay.
I'm living the same life as you. I'm paying the same taxes. I do not, no gods, no masters. I'm not voting anybody, a god, a man of flesh and blood, into any office so I could complain about, look at all these rich people, what they're doing to us. I don't have that mentality. I never will. Maybe I got it from my father. I do not know. But I don't have that mentality. And here's the thing. Yes, white people are in power. Yes, it's disproportionately wealthy white. But what are you going to do about it? Because let me tell you the only thing that's going to change it. And everybody's going to shut the fuck up after I say this. This is the one, all the white allies, all the black people that are mad about reparations, or the Latins that want to, they don't want to be portrayed as maid and drug dealers. Here's the only thing that's going to change white people. The only thing, bloodshed. Not one of you is willing to go into the government and snatch kidnap and murder any of those people. The only thing that would change the system is bloodshed, war. Okay, that's how they're empowered. That's how they got everything they've ever had. The rest of the world, they're just complaining. You are not willing to fucking shed blood for what you want. So my thing is, shut the fuck up. It's the same thing I would tell my children. It's the same thing I would tell my friends. You don't want to be there. You don't want to keep getting abused. Shut the fuck up or leave. But if you're gonna stay, hand them the Vaseline and leave me the fuck out of it.
Always starts off with complaining.
Because it's just complaining. It's complaining. No one's willing to, because you can change the system. Run up in the Capitol, kidnap all them people, hold them at gunpoint. The NFL, the athletes, don't suit up. Don't fucking play for an entire year. Say, if it's going to be disproportionately white, you're not going to treat us right. There's no black coaches. We're not suiting up for a year. Fuck your sports. But they're not going to do that.
Or you can do this. Or you can do this. Or you can do this. What I usually tell people when they get to complaining. We can really change all of this around within a year or two. You know how? Let's just say everybody said, like, yo, I'm not going to pay my fucking taxes until this shit is fucking fixed.
I always thought of that. A tax fucking boycott.
If everybody just said flat out.
It would instantly overwhelm the prison systems, right? I mean, yeah.
David,
how many of y'all are really going to say fuck taxes this year?
No, listen, David, then you would have my full fucking attention. And let me tell you something.
And when I tell people that, they get quiet.
They do.
Right.
And why is that?
Right. Now listen to me.
Like this.
Listen to me. If I saw, because there's a lot of trends that start online, right? And all the kids run out and do it or whatever. If a trend was to start and they was like, yo, the entire country is not paying taxes from this month, I'd be down. I'd be like, now we talking. Now you got my attention. But just to hear people complain, I'm like, shut the fuck up. Go pay your taxes and go eat your sandwich. Don't rile me up for nothing. Don't rile me up for nothing.
This is what would happen. Everybody would put their profile pictures to no taxes this year. And then 3 months after the tax deadline, you would see a news story that says, here goes the 10,000 people that didn't pay their taxes now being put in jail.
Yeah.
But we need 10 million, right? Because it would instantly overwhelm the prison systems. They'd never be able to prosecute. They'd never be able to handle that many people.
The stock market would be obliterated. I mean, everything would literally go to shit within 8 months. I guarantee you. And they would sit down.
Exactly.
All right.
And don't listen like
listen, and it'd be 10,000 of us idiots in jail. Like, yo, man, I thought everybody was down.
Hey, Jen.
Yeah.
So, Jen, I just want to say this because I think overall, I understand what you're saying. Like, there's certain corporations and people that manipulate what laws get passed, and that's all true. But I do know the difference in the parties when it comes to me personally, because I see what happens when certain groups get into power can personally happen on my job because I work for the federal government, and there's a difference. So when people say there's no difference, I disagree. There's a difference. I know that when certain people get into power, suddenly I'm going to be furloughed. Suddenly they're not giving me a raise. Suddenly, so it's all about when you vote. It's all about who gets what, and it's all about personal interest, and that's all. So yeah, there are differences, and that's why I do vote.
We need to understand. I understand where Jen is coming from when she looks at politicians. And she looks at politicians in a particular manner because, let's be honest with each other, politicians have to, particularly the president, anybody could want to be the president. Anybody could run for the presidency.
We've seen.
However, does anyone know how much it actually costs?
From jail.
Does anybody know how much it actually costs to become the president of the United States?
Yeah. To become the president.
So guess what?
The problem.
To run.
So guess what? You goddamn right. You're gonna owe a favor to the goddamn, folks who run Merrill Lynch. You're gonna you got all kinds of fucking, money men who are making sure that you go. Yep. People with unbelievable amount of endless fucking wealth are taking care of
human beings like sport. Period. They don't care if it's in a gladiator arena. They don't care if it's on a football field. They don't care if it's in a political realm. They don't care. They just like sports. So with politics, it's just a different type of sport. Are you wearing the red jersey or the blue jersey? It is literally sports. And then if you get what you want from your team, you don't give a fuck about the other side, do you? You don't care because your team won. So let's call a spade a spade. Let's not act like we're voting for the good of the people. No, you're voting for your interests, and your interests don't even count unless you're the one greasing the pockets of the politicians. That's why I said you want to be a real gangster, make enough money so you could grease the pockets of a politician. Because guess what? Guess what? I don't vote. I've never voted, no Saint. You could vote till your finger falls off. But if I got $100K to put in a fucking mayor's pocket, I have more power than you in that booth. Yeah. Way more power. Way more power. So you guys could go in and turn the little lever. I come through with $1 million for the mayor. Fuck your vote. He's going to do what I say because he wants that money. If you want to be a real gangster about politics.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, look, listen, again, you know, let's just go on a limb and say, let's just say that the president, or you know what I mean, like he might be pure of intention. He might really want to help the people out. Yeah, that sounds great. But yeah, you owe the guy at Merrill Lynch a fucking favor. You owe, you know what I mean, you owe the Sultan of fucking Baghdad a fucking favor. And you know what I mean? And if you do not, you renege on this favor, you got fucking problems.
There are, listen,
wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. No, say, fuck the people who signed you and who voted for you to actually be in office and push this particular agenda that you said you were going to, you know, push forward. If that agenda is in contrary to his financial backers, that agenda is not going to be not going to be done. Hence why the whole build the wall shit, that was a dog and pony shit. That shit was a bullshit fucking talking point. I told people there's no way in hell America is going to get rid of illegals. This whole shit is built on free labor.
It's not even in their interest to get rid of
absolutely
not. I agree. And not only that, how many times have we heard?
Good.
Wait, and then I want to pass the mic to Kari because I did interrupt you. I'm sorry, but you know, it sounds good. But here's the thing: how many times do we hear over? I mean, since I was a child and I knew what English was, how many times have we heard? Yeah, we voted him in because he promised X, Y, and Z. That motherfucker didn't do shit. How many times have we heard that? Verbatim, decade after decade after decade. You know why we hear that? Because of what Haran said. Because he promised whatever to get you idiots to fucking vote. And guess what? The favor he owed to Merrill Lynch was way more important than you wanting your potholes fixed in your neighborhood and you wanting better books in your schools. Fuck your schools. Fuck your neighborhoods. Fuck the potholes. I owe this guy a favor. And he put $1 million in my pocket. So who are you again? Your daughter is who? Hi. Let me shake your hand. We met where? Hi. How are you?
And well, and no one thinks or knows enough about government to realize that a presidential candidate can promise whatever they want unless Congress and Senate agrees with them. Ain't shit happening.
Yes.
And that is where you get the Biden fucking, you know what I mean, loans being promised. It was a bullshit point to go on. He knew damn well it would have died in the goddamn Supreme Court.
Well, yeah, but not really, because they had the Congress at the time that he was elected, but there was an Arizona senator, or there was Joe Manchin.
It still wouldn't have passed.
Wait, no. It would have passed. Joe Manchin, if he would have voted, if they would have had his vote, and then I think there was an Arizona Democrat that flipped, and they could have got that through. They could.
I don't think it would have.
And then it would have been law.
But I don't think it would have been passed.
We'll never know. At this point.
We're going to have to disagree on that one. But anyway, I understand.
But no, I think I agree with what Jen says. I don't disagree with what any of you guys are saying. I'm just saying I see differences, small as they may be, and I know how it affects my life. And also, I think there's one side right now that is all about grievance politics and a little bit on the crazy side, the base. Not everybody, not George, but the base.
Now me, I'm a
George is catching strays and he ain't even here.
I'm a registered voter. I voted for Obama because I voted for Obama. I didn't really think he was going to do everything he said. Nobody does everything they say. I voted against Trump. You know, those are the only 2 presidential elections I voted in. But I do vote in my city elections. I vote for like councilman's district. I vote for the sheriff. You know, shit that really affects me, I vote for. You know, because I think those votes really do matter. When you voting for who's going to be the sheriff for your city, you know what I'm saying? Who's going to be the council person for this area, or who's going to be running this district?
There's no electoral college to fuck with the meaning of your
Here's
vote.
the irony of it.
And I think some of those people are in it for the money. Some of those people are in it because they actually care, you know? And sometimes I can tell, sometimes I can't tell. But I think my vote actually matters in that instance, not necessarily
it's interesting because I have never ever voted, and my life has been exactly what I made it and what I wanted it to be. I'm just saying this in general. I've never walked into a booth, and when I wanted money, I went to work. When I wanted more money, I got 2 jobs. I paid my taxes. I went on about my business. I dated, fucked, sucked, had fun, ate dinner, had dinners, went to parties, went clubbing, came back home, had a child, you know what I mean? Put her through school. Like, and I've never voted, never complained about a pothole, never. I just will not play the game. I just won't. I'm not interested.
I don't think the political decisions directly affect me and stop me from doing anything. Because I'm going to do what I want. But my voting makes it to where I can now smoke weed and not worry about a cop fucking with me, you know?
I think
you think your vote did that, and you don't think that it's just basically the powers that be saw there's money in this weed shit. Let's legalize it. So we could put more money. So we could put more money in our pockets.
No, I think it was the people voting because it's not fully legal. It's legal in medicinal form. You know that one passed and shit. But like I voted for no license needed to carry a gun. You know, tomorrow, July 1st, first day, people are going to be able to carry guns in Florida without actually having to be licensed, you know? I voted for that.
That makes you sleep at night?
Yeah. This is Florida. People, people already have guns out here. People already have guns, you know? Yeah. And it just makes it
easier for more people to get more guns.
Because police
David, I'll be honest, if I didn't live in this country, I wouldn't own the guns that I own. Guns with an S. I would not. But I feel like here you have to. Because they're so free with guns, and it's like nobody wants to be a sitting duck. Just my opinion. I don't want to be a sitting duck in a fucking country where everybody has a fucking gun. I don't want to be caught in a Walmart and there's a way maybe I could shoot back at a mass shooter and now, oh shit, I don't have a gun. But if I didn't live in this country, I would not own guns. I would not. I would not own guns. But here it's like, oh, you guys are open carry? Well, I'm not gonna fucking be the only one out here not open carrying then. But I wouldn't. Yeah. I think it's fucked up. But I'm like, yo, when in Rome, that's how I see it. But if I didn't live here, I wouldn't.
But I do think that's one of the reasons we've never been invaded.
Well, the nukes also. Anyway, you know,
I think it's the nukes.
The point of the matter is this: when speaking with Black people, look, Black people can fix their community by doing 2 things. Okay. One of the main reasons why, Black people are having a lot of issues that you only show up for the goddamn presidency when it's time to vote. And that really doesn't mean shit because they got some shit called the electoral vote. I keep telling people this shit. But anyway, you know what I mean? Wait one second, Jen.
I don't know.
Now, what I tell people, one of the things I tell people is that for Black people, if you really want to change the community, vote locally and buy Black. Because when you do things like that, you affect your situation locally and you empower each other economically so you can actually have some motherfucking politicians in your pocket. You know what I mean? Because you have the money, you have the resources, you are building your communities. If you have the money, you can get into the political game. You can get into these situations. You can start moving some situations. But the problem is that we're constantly putting ourselves in situations where we're at the mercy of someone else's decision. And we're worrying and we're constantly hoping that these people will have this altruistic view and this change of heart and and think of slavery and all this other bullshit. Like, look, at the end of the day, this is about business. It's about money. Empower yourself, fiscally. So yeah, you can influence things politically.
I was
And
gonna say that I don't know.
the thing
I was
about it,
gonna say
one more thing, Jen. One more thing, Jen. I'm gonna land the plane right here. The thing about it is that the reason why you vote locally is because guess what? When you vote locally, you can change the color of your state. And if you change the color of your state, that affects the presidency.
Right, which affects the electoral college.
Exactly.
Right.
so. What I was gonna say was, I know a lot of Black people who vote locally. They don't just only vote for the president. I know a lot of them, especially when I was living in the Bronx. They are very much involved
Jen,
in
intelligent
voting
people,
locally.
though, Jen. I keep telling you, you're in a different boat. Intelligent people.
Well, that's what happens when you drop out. That's what happens when you drop out in ninth grade.
There you go.
And remember, when you buy black, you're probably also buying white.
Chinese.
Chinese.
Damn, y'all are disrespectful. Y'all are disrespectful. All right,
I recently started a software company, and people would be buying black, but I'm actually using some third parties. There's no black companies that do that.
Shit.
Of course. Now let me ask you something right there, Kyle. Let me ask you something. When did you start in software engineering? What year?
99.
99. Okay, so we were roughly around the same time. Okay, I got in the game around 04. Now, here's the thing. How many Black people were that you actually saw on the floor when you were when you were at the job? How many Black people were actually involved? Very few. Now, keeping that in mind, did that deter you from moving forward?
No, not at all.
Did you think about it?
No.
Did you feel that there were airs of racism? Did you feel as if those motherfuckers did try to get you up out of there, but maybe you just didn't give a fuck?
So I worked at one job to where, like, after 3 years of working there's one white woman felt comfortable enough to say, when you first started, I was like, wow, we're hiring thugs now?
Wow. David, I've heard some things from me.
At another company, my nickname was Yay, like Ice Cube. that was my nickname. That somebody just they called me behind my back. But then after working there for a while, they felt comfortable to tell me. But also, one of the first software engineering jobs I had was in Jacksonville. I was working for this company called Verve. They was actually it was founded by this dude that was a surfer. Their first office was actually on the beach. They had cameras looking out at the ocean for when the waves was good. They would run out and go to the waves. So I got there and I'm like, I feel like I'm in a corporate environment and I'm seeing all these white guys in fucking flip-flops and shorts and shit. And I was just like, oh, I could just be myself. So I'm in there, my baggy jeans, my hat on, my do-rag on, type of shit, you know what I'm saying? And everything was cool, but I kept that going forward. I was always me. So I would start a job and I'd be in the job with a fucking fitted hat, with my fitted hat on and shit like that. And white people just saw, oh, he got a fitted hat on. Is this guy a thug?
Let me tell you, I going back to buy from your own people, I love buying from Black and brown, but you need fucking hospitality fucking training, you dumb fucks, because just getting a fucking business loan and opening up a business means jack shit if you don't know how to treat people when they go in your fucking business. And I will walk out and never come back.
Yeah, so that's something. You don't go to Jamaican restaurants very often, huh?
I have.
Oh my God.
And they're really good with back of the house, front of the house. It's like they treat you like you're in their living room, like you're inconveniencing them. Bitch, I will never come back here. Fuck you and your beef patty. Okay.
Listen, I am literally an award-winning customer service personality in some circles, and it is dreadful what the fuck I see out there. I mean, across the board, a lot of it is kind of generational, because I get it. A kid making $14 an hour doesn't give a fuck. But, if you'll want me to buy that coffee, at least smile at me and say, good morning.
Yes.
That's
the least of it. And I'm a big tipper. because I appreciate good service. I know the work is hard. I've never done it, but I can imagine somebody on their feet all day, you know what I mean, turning tables and stuff. So I'm like, when someone is pleasant, it's like, it shouldn't be a surprise to me. I shouldn't be like, oh my gosh, she was so sweet. Let me leave her at 20 or something, right? Yeah. So I loathe that. And that's something that happens with us when we open a business is like, we don't know front of the house shit. Like you have to, business is beyond getting a loan and opening up a fucking business.
We need
Jen,
to do
I
a show though
completely-
on Jamaican restaurants, please.
Oh no!
Okay.
Look, listen, my people. Look, listen. That's one of my
I'm
biggest
writing it
issues.
down.
I went to every time I go to a Jamaican restaurant, I ring the bell and be like, "Want what you want?"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
What you want?
oh, you want? And I'm like, looking at him like, yeah, let me get the jerk chicken with the rice and peas. When I have no more, it's only 12 p.m.
I'm gonna
You know
have
what I'm
that.
saying? When I have something no more, man.
I'm gonna have that.
Exactly. When I have
Are you
nothing no
Are
more.
you deaf?
Exactly. Like, yo, man. Every time I come in here, y'all don't have it.
They talk to you
Choose
like your
something else.
homeboy.
The place is called
They
Jerk
definitely
Shack,
talk to you
but
like
they
your
only
homeboy.
have curry and brown stew chicken.
And that's exactly
We don't have any
exactly what I'm
jerk today.
saying. Like nobody eats this shit. One time before I got into an argument, one of them, I'm like, look, why y'all don't have jerk chicken? Nobody eats this shit that y'all keep doing. Trust me. In my house, we didn't eat stewed chicken every fucking 5 minutes. You know what I mean? That oxtail shit that's overrated. Where's the fucking jerk chicken? Man?
Thank you. I believe it's overrated
Where's the
too.
jerk chicken,
like,
man? Why do you
Where's-
not have mounds of this
where's
shit
the
peeling
beef?
off of the ceiling? Like,
First
what are you
person
doing?
to agree with me.
Okay, so let's on that note, let's flip it because we can't be here all night.
Yeah,
Let's go. Do inmates deserve air conditioning? Yes, I'm asking like that. Do inmates deserve air conditioning?
What did he do?
Texas inmates are being cooked alive in heat wave with no air conditioning. Texas inmates being cooked alive in heat wave with no air conditioning. 70% of Texas jails aren't fully air conditioned. Out of 100 jails, 14 have zero AC. 55 have AC only in respite areas like the chapels. The rest have none, zero. Temperatures are going up to 120 degrees.
They're trying to make more Christians by air conditioning.
Exactly. I was like, all of a sudden, I want to pray. One of the senators has been quoted as saying, Texas was a thriving state before air conditioning was even created. So our families outside of the penal system and the prison system lived in a state of Texas for decades and decades and decades before air conditioning was even a thing. So we have to balance the cost of that. We have to meet court scrutiny. But at the end of the day, we've got a little ways to go on that one. Sounds like this center is like a deal with it. A lot of people out here don't have AC. There's prisons in Arizona where the guy makes them sleep outside in the pink clothes. I'm sure you guys have seen him. And he plays, some really ratchet music on a cycle. He makes them sleep outside in pink clothes and up, it goes up to 120 degrees there as well. Do you think this is inhumane, or it's like, don't do the crime if you can't do the time?
Look, what did he do? What did the inmate do?
I'm asking the same.
Because
question.
if you're a fucking pedo, I don't give a fuck. You're lucky you're breathing.
Right.
Fuck if it's 100 degrees in there. You're lucky you're alive.
But if you're selling dime bags, come on.
Yeah, they're selling dime bags. Come on, give this guy a glass of water at least.
Maybe an Italian ice or something.
I guess it depends. I guess it depends on the population. What's the population like out there? Does the majority of the population have AC? And I say that because there was a time where I grew up in the Bronx in Parkchester, and there was no AC in that fucking apartment. And that shit was a killer. But there was no AC, and nobody in Parkchester had AC at one point.
And even if there was AC, grandma was like,
right.
You got AC money?
Right.
So AC is
grandma.
AC is a luxury, even though I don't really fully agree with jail in a lot of instances. I know a lot of laws are just made up just to be made up because somebody ain't like some shit, but some laws definitely need to be in place. You know what I mean? Some laws definitely need to be in place. like fucking murder or pedophiles and shit like
Good
that.
night, Ty. Ty's going to do
You know?
some stand-up. He is a comedian. For those of you who do not know, please follow Ty Rivera.
So
Good night,
I
darling.
I think if everybody in Texas had AC and the only people without AC was inmates, I would say give them AC. But if there's like 70-30 or some shit like that, then shit, it is what it is.
Yes, Tent City.
So
Someone said, hold on. Sarah said the joy of zero state taxes, and outside the box said, "You're not going to a 5-star hotel. You're going to a jail."
So let's address some of these. So depending on what part of Texas,
Oh wait! I wish Ty would come up, but I know he got to do stand up. He's been there, the jail I'm talking about. He said I spent a weekend in Tent City in Arizona for DUI. Yes, that's what it is. You had to sleep outside, Ty.
But was it
pink.
winter or summer?
He had on the pink pants.
Was it 120 degree Arizona or was it 71?
at nighttime it drops down.
It says it was when I was young and those hot conditions made me not want to go back to jail. Yeah, he tortures them like
You know
the fucking
what?
warden.
I actually got locked up one time for driving with a revoked license. I was in jail overnight. And they had AC, and I was fucking freezing.
Yeah, me
I couldn't
too.
wait to get out of there. I was
Me
like,
too.
why is it so goddamn cold? And they only give you a blanket about that thick.
Oh, and I wasn't
You know,
using
so-
that blanket. I was like, I'm cool.
You know?
I'm good on that.
So, I don't know.
Go ahead, no saying.
It's either
So-
going to be hot or freezing.
Yeah, let's address some of this. So first of all, depending on what part of Texas you're in, you're going to have like if you're in Houston on the Gulf Coast side of Texas, you've got an AC. If you don't, I don't know how you would live without it, to be honest with you. I mean, and when this guy says, well, people lived here in Texas without AC before it was invented. Yeah, people lived here too, but you know what? The houses were built different. They're not the same construction anymore. The houses were built with these huge roofs that the heat would go up and they would have an opening and the heat could go out. We're in this house I'm in right now. If you don't have AC, first of all, the walls are going to mold because of all the humidity. You're not going to sleep. I mean, yesterday, I think it hit 100 degrees, a record. The day before, I think it hit 98 degrees, a record with 100% humidity. So when it comes to the jail, yeah, I think that's torture. I think it's torture not to have AC, and the person can't get out of a confined space. And right now we have a heat wave going on. It's not just, well, suck it up, you shouldn't have done the time. I mean, if we're gonna be like if you want to lower your standards in this country to be like some of these countries that stack, 10 to a cell. And and basically the inmates are running the prison. They have other weapons on them. Then okay, let's go for that. It reminds me of something, Jen. I was gonna bring this up earlier. I heard today that they're throwing a law up in this state where you can sign off that your kids can have corporal punishment in school again. And all the people now you have to sign, right? But all the people on the radio that were. When I was, and it's mostly Catholic students, right? It was mostly When I was in, my nun made me kneel on rice, and they would make me hold my fist out, and they'd wrap my knuckles with their ruler. You know who else did something like that? The Japanese to the American. It's torture. These things are torture. So if you're all right with torture, like Haran said, what'd they do? Are they in it for, stealing a car?
Again, that's a bit of a false equivalency on No Saint because that's a kid. Okay, that's a kid. You know what I mean? That guy in jail most likely murdered like 8 people. Okay. Or
No. There's a lot of people in jail who haven't murdered, but there's a lot of people in jail.
Here's the thing. Okay. All right, listen. Okay, this is a narrative that also someone said in here that, well, some people are innocent in jail. Okay, we need to get out of this idea that out of every 10 people who are in jail, like 7 of them didn't do anything. Okay, man. Okay, like 7 out of 10 people are innocent. It's a very good chance. The way the system works, it's a good chance that like maybe 1 or 2, I'll give it to you, are or maybe innocent or just had a fucking shitty ass lawyer. 9 times out of 10, especially the guys that I grew up with, I know that motherfucker did it. He knew he did it. We knew what was gonna fucking happen to him. we were probably with him when he did it. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know what I mean? Please divorce yourself from this idea that so many people in prisons are innocent. And the problem with America, the thing about America that it's so amazing, we even treat our prisoners with a degree of, you know what I mean? So there's some demand for sympathy for them as opposed to other countries. Other countries in the world, oh my fucking God, they got these motherfuckers like drinking out of brown water. They treat them like fucking shit.
Right.
Treat yourself to locked up abroad for a week.
But Haran, I get what you're saying.
No saying. Prisoners have better health care than you and me, bro.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. You're right about that. But my point is this: like, I understand what you're saying when it comes to most people have done some kind of crime, but like for me, I'm always on the side of I'm always what happened. But they see when he. No, he had AC. He probably did have AC. My problem is when you talk about that, and I know you're not taking it in this sense, but to me, that's why I'm against the death penalty, because I don't care if it's one wrong person getting executed. That person shouldn't be executed. And if you can't guarantee me that everybody on death row is guilty, or you can't prove that there's not one innocent, you always see where they come out.
No saying, you didn't see Platoon. We all gonna die sometime.
No, I agree with because there's innocent people on there. It's not. It might not be a large percentage, but there's a percentage,
especially in states that have private jails.
Percentage. So
yeah,
states with private jails. But to me, I still don't agree with I don't agree that we should especially in these extreme temperatures. This is one thing if you're telling me you're out in California and in San Francisco Bay Area and it's like 68, and once in a while it gets to 90, like in October, that's when their hot season is. Okay, they don't need AC there. But when you're in freaking East Texas,
but you know what?
That's a death sentence, man.
Texas is gonna Texas. And the prisons that don't have AC, is not just the prisoners going through it. The staff is going through it as well because they don't have AC
people because they're pissed off. Believe me, when you get that hot, you're pissed.
Yeah, they might be too hot to be pissed.
No, you're pissed. Wait, Jen's gonna find out. Jen's gonna find out late August. She's gonna see when you come down to New Orleans. You're gonna see how pissed you get.
I live in the desert.
It's different.
How is it?
How is it different?
Because you walk outside. You walk outside and you're wet.
It's like going to Puerto Rico. It's humid. I know how
very
it is.
humid.
Vegas is very humid. Vegas is humid.
No, not Vegas. But when you go to Puerto Rico and that door opens up on the plane,
it's like a wet blanket got dropped on your face.
You feel the moisture because you're on an island, so
it's like that.
So just turn off the see if your dog. No, you're not gonna do it because you have grandchildren. Turn off the AC and see how long you can sit in that house.
I can do it. I grew up with a Puerto Rican grandmother. We couldn't use lights. We couldn't use AC. We couldn't even turn on. She didn't even let us turn on the fucking ceiling fan. I was like, Grandma, we died. We're sticking to the plastic on the couch. Stop this madness. She was like, no, you could use natural light. I'm like, oh, we're dying. Eat your food and leave me alone. Yo.
Look, listen, man, the projects really ain't good for anything but the wintertime. Y'all know what Project Heat is? Like Project Heat, man, you can walk around in the projects in your shorts.
It's crazy.
You can make a great cheese on the radiator.
When I was in Parkchester, I realized how spoiled I was when I was in co-op. Because Parkchester had windows that opened out like this, and it was hot. You couldn't put no AC in them shits.
Do you think so? Let me ask this: Do you think that America, bars and stars, right, land of the free, home of the brave? Do you think, honest answers? Do you think that our prisons are too comfy? When you think about Locked Up Abroad and World's Toughest Prisons, I watched that show. That show is fucking amazing. Do you think that we're too nice to our prisoners? Are they too comfy?
I don't think so.
You don't,
We're too
Kari,
nice
you
to
don't think so?
In America.
I don't think so.
And in
I
America,
think it,
look, in
Except for
America, I've been in
immigrants.
other areas of the world, and I've been in other areas of the world, and I mean, I've actually lived in shanty towns. I've actually shitted in outhouses. I've bathed next to fucking cows, actually looking at a fucking cow while I'm washing my ass. And, you know what I mean? To hear, to understand that in comparison to what I experienced in America, it's a
Mhm.
completely different thing. It's completely different. And there are a number, I know Americans think that this, you know, within its system, there's still harshness, but the harshness here pales in comparison to so many other areas of the world, you know what I mean, that I visited. And I'll pass the mic
Right.
on that.
Well,
Okay.
I think just because America isn't as bad as some places, I know it's not as good as a lot of other places, but I think just because somebody's in prison, they don't need to be treated like shit. You know, because it's only one bad day that could keep any of us out of jail. You know,
And
it could be one bad day. I remember there was a story not too long ago out here in Tampa where a guy got into a fight. He punched the guy. The guy fell, hit his head on the curb, died. Now dude is in jail for manslaughter. You know, it takes just one little instance for some shit to go sideways.
Hmm.
You
And
know,
that happened to my niece's baby daddy. He was trying to help his friends at a titty bar remove this guy from the bar that was acting belligerent, and the dude fell, hit himself on the concrete steps, started like having a seizure and died, and he got like, what is it, 3-4 years manslaughter or some shit like that. But shit happens, right?
right? You know, that's why I don't think just because somebody's in jail, they should be treated like shit and not
not not just that, but we got to remember what the prison system is originally and what it should go back to, and that's rehabilitation. It's not. It's supposed to be for now murderers. I get, you know, pedophile. I understand, but I'm saying in general, it's supposed to be a place to rehabilitate. A penitentiary started in Pennsylvania was all about rehabilitation. Now, back then it was a little bit different. They gave my Bible. They gave my Bible. No. It's about that's what prisons are supposed to be. It's supposed to be you should go there, rehabilitate, and be productive to society. Now it's been cut down to just punishment.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, no saying, but that's not going to happen because it's not in the best interests of major corporations for these people to be rehabilitated. Because let's just call it what it is. Prisons, particularly private prisons, have transformed into essentially sweatshops on American soil. You know what I mean? So, you know, these, you know, if we have somebody who has the potential to become a career criminal, and that person can, you know what I mean, be on the revolving door, and they a particular company can constantly keep making money off of that person for pennies on the dollar, they're going to continue to put that person in the cycle of poverty that puts them in that situation. Again, America and many large civilizations, great civilizations, have always been built on cheap or free labor, period.
Thank you for the super chat. Emily the Real says, we as a society should be humane, more humane than a criminal. Yes, that's a good point, right? Is it criminal to have inmates suffer? Are we equal to the criminals if we're making them suffer while they're in prison? Yay or nay?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah. And I think so because of reasons why Spofford was closed, because of the crazy shit that was going on in there. You know, only reason I wasn't in Spofford was because I had friends that didn't tell. If they would have told, I would have been in Spofford with them. You know, and who knows what the fuck would have been going on out there. And that was just that was a jail for kids under 18.
Yep.
Look at the state of Rikers. You know, and you're not even convicted there. You're not even guilty.
That's just holding.
And they're dying. You know,
that Rikers has turned into Rikers has turned into an unofficial prison.
I mean, but wait a minute.
That's not even prison.
Right.
Right. Exactly. It's jail. Right.
I mean, it's jail.
Right. Right. But that's the point.
It's not like wait. It's not. I'm saying yes. I know there are people in there that didn't do it. I know there are people that manslaughter. My father went to prison, but even my dad told me avoid prison because it's like going off to war. You don't know if you're coming home. My father knew where he was going. My father was not expecting a 5-star, hotel.
Experience,
It's fucking right. It's fucking prison. Now, yes, albeit there are situations where, oops, manslaughter. I didn't mean to kill you. You know what I mean? Or one angry moment. But at the end of the day, it's still prison. It's not a 5-star hotel. So what are we talking about here?
It isn't, right, but I agree with the rehabilitation comment. It's charged.
It should be at least a 1-star hotel.
I've stated some La Quintas that are like that. But it is, it's charge dependent, in my opinion. You know what I mean? If this is a short sentence that's gonna, sideline, your education, and there's an opportunity to get your GED or whatever on a 3-4 year thing for a crime that a nonviolent crime or whatever, you know what I mean? That is rehabilitation. You shot up a school, fuck you.
Sarah,
life for selling drugs.
Right. So Sarah, interesting comment. Sarah says America doesn't believe in rehabilitation. It's all about punishment. We're not Scandinavia. Laughing out loud. She also says we as a society suffer from lax laws that forces productive members of society to coexist with the scum of the earth. I believe that too. Yeah. I believe that too, because there are a lot of people. Great point, Emily, the real Khalif Browder. Everybody's familiar with the Khalif Browder case, right? Yes. That was a travesty. Thank you for the super chat, Emily. So, look what Sarah said. Is it true? There are a lot of people that are let out of prison, then they end up murdering somebody. And it's like, this guy has a rap sheet as long as my arm, and they kept letting him out. So I don't think this country is as hard on crime. I've heard I watch a lot of crime stories, I'm sure, as you all do. And a lot of these people have rap sheets, man, a long rap sheets. And it's like, why were you out? Why were you out in the street?
If you look at it this way, if the lax laws weren't a problem, so many mayors and presidents to a degree wouldn't use it as a talking point when trying to run. They wouldn't say that he's tough on crime, you know what I mean, and so on, because that's always something that is in the back of so many Americans' minds, that we're not as tough on crime as we could be and should be.
Okay, so let me show you a little video, and you let me know how well these guys are faring in prison, okay?
Who can really cook?
Yeah, who can really cook? Who cooking for their mans on these good Sundays?
I'm talking about who cook.
Because good men are hungry. I'm hungry than a motherfucker right now.
Right now.
Tell who is that? Yeah. And I don't eat no pork either. You heard? We don't. Nobody in here eat pork.
You got to shout out to your
we ain't on that.
I want to hear what she said. Tell
we need all.
Have you seen that?
What
man, I seen that, bro.
Tell it again.
Hey, say it again. Whoever said
they want Detroit, say it again.
Say it again so they can see it. The comments is going.
Can y'all ladies cook?
So it turns out prisoners now have access to the internet, and they could go on TikTok and get money and cash donations and what have you.
They suffer.
And they are very, very popular. Women are tripping over themselves for these men. These men are getting donations on their TikToks. They all get together. They have a lot of fun. They're basically like model prisoners, literally. Like the women are all, oh my God, I want that one. He's fine. He this, he that. And they just on TikTok like this.
Who can really cook?
Yeah, who can really cook? Who cooking for their mans on these good Sundays?
I'm talking about who can cook.
Because good men are hungry. I'm hungry than a motherfucker right now.
Right now.
Tell Detroit I'm hungry. Who is that?
Yeah. And I don't eat no pork either. You heard?
Look, see, this is why I say what I say, man. I grew up with these kind of guys, man. Like, come on. Like, come on, this is why you can't pull the wool over my eyes.
Listen, I'm just saying, if I was the warden and I found that out, I'm not gonna lie, I would go and crank the AC down a couple notches.
got jokes right. You got
Wait.
jokes.
I didn't
Now,
say I would turn it off. I didn't say I would turn it off.
Did he say you
Why?
heard me at the end? You heard me? Because that's
Yes.
typical New
I
Orleans.
don't, I don't have a
Yes.
problem with. I don't have a problem with prisoners doing shit like that. If they can get a hand on the phone, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I
with
hear that. Like what Jen
I said
said.
that-
Oh yeah, like what Jen
said that
said, man. Oh
because
y'all
he ain't
want to
going
worry about y'all want to worry about cooking, huh? Speaking of cooking, you about to cook in a minute.
I tell you what,
You about
I've
to
been
cook.
I've been in jail. I've been in jail overnight. And
I think all of us have. Really.
I can't imagine doing
Nope,
that for
like not me.
let
No,
alone
the only
let
outlier.
alone years. So just that one overnight.
But okay,
You know?
let me devil's advocate.
like-
hold up, Kari, because you
myself.
right now you being a prisoner's
Enjoy
advocate, and I get it. Okay, I spent the weekend. All right?
Mm-hmm.
It was. I was more disgusted about the filth than anything else. I'm like, fine, I'm in a cage. It's whatever. I was just more. No, saying you see how I clean. So I was
She was
like,
cleaning the prison, I'm sure. She was cleaning
Exactly.
the cell. Like,
listen, I mean, I said, I'm already, this is the weekend, but I'm going on a hunger strike and I'm going on a peace strike. I don't care if my bladder explodes. I am not sitting on that fucking toilet. I'm
You
not
went on the
doing it
weekend?
on the fucking weekend. And you know what happens, right? You don't see the fucking judge
Yeah.
till Monday or fucking Tuesday. Okay?
Yeah.
Might.
Most likely Tuesday. Most
I'm like,
likely
these
Tuesday.
bitches was in there like it was another Friday night. They were washing their panties in the sink and in the toilet and saying, hey, girl. And they were laying under those, you can't even call it a blanket. It's like a cardboard damn near. And it was freezing. Fucking. And them hookers were in there like it was 90 degrees. I got my coat on, my hoodie, like I'm a fucking motherfucker. I'm mad as shit, man. And they in there washing their panties. Yeah, girl. When you get out? And I was like, yo, what the fuck is happening? Anyway, I didn't kill anybody, right? I may have hurt a person, maybe, perhaps, but I didn't kill anybody, right? So, Kari, you said, what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong. They ain't got nothing else to do. What if this guy here, the one that's saying, I'm hungry,
Who can really cook?
Yeah, who can really cook? Who cooking for their mans on these good Sundays?
what if that man snatched your mother's purse and pushed her down while snatching your mother's purse?
He locked up. He ain't going nowhere.
I would put them on an all pork diet.
yeah, I didn't notice that. So that's either Muslim or Hebrew Israelite crap and going on in prison. But
Or it's just people that think pork is bad for you, and it isn't. Depends on how you cook it. Like, and by the way, you know what? Don't eat pork because the less pork you eat, the more there is for me.
So I could just go handle it myself.
But
Kari, you I think that was a little goalpost move.
My take on that.
Of course, it's a goalpost move because it affects him. See, everybody wants to be kind to prisoners until the idea of a prisoner doing something to you is put into the mix.
No, I wouldn't want to.
You know what I mean?
I would beat his ass and beat his ass.
But wouldn't that be torture? That sounds like torture. That sounds like torture, Kyrie.
Yeah, that is torture.
Sounds like torture.
Now, no, torture would be
that sounds like torture.
And I beat his ass.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So it's semantics. Okay.
If he can swing back, that's not torture.
It's semantics.
I say that is one of the most New York things I've ever heard. I would beat his ass, and I would beat his ass.
Exactly.
I would beat his ass, and I would beat his ass. And I would beat his ass. Right. That is super New York. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you think, we're talking about they don't have AC, but do you think they have too many freedoms?
Absolutely. What are you doing on the damn internet?
Listen, these not only on the internet, you can email these guys. They have a dating site. These guys are dating from prison. Murderers, by the way, not people that just snatch purses. Murderers.
Look, listen. This is. Let's put this into perspective. Okay. All right. These guys get three square meals a day. They get internet fucking access. They got better health care than every one of us on this goddamn panel. I trade my life for this for maybe like a good week or two, for maybe even a month. Outside the prison violence and shit like that, this shit sounds like a good weekend or two at Club
One of them had braces. One of them had braces from in the prison, and he was saying how he got braces in the prison. Let me show you. This
so
guy
great
here.
dental care. So they have great fucking dental care. So here's
Yes.
the thing.
Look at the guy in the back without the dreads. He got braces in prison because the girls was like, "How'd you get braces?"
Who can really cook?
Yeah, who can really cook? Who cooking for their mans on these good Sundays?
Talking about something. Who can cook?
Because good men are hungry. I'm hungry than a motherfucker right now.
Right now.
Tells you right
Right now.
Who is that?
So the guy without the dreads had braces.
And also,
Yeah.
some of these, a lot of them have hairdressers because these niggas be up in there braiding each other's hair.
I love how they're calling themselves.
How would y'all feel about this? Somebody in those comments said y'all should make a calendar. What would you think about a prison calendar where the money went to something good?
Like their victims?
Yeah.
If there's victims. If there's
Or
victims.
maybe AC. Maybe AC, right?
AC Bill, the AC Bill. I love how they assume they're good men too. A good man loves to eat. but what I will say on my take on this is I absolutely don't think they should have access to like those kind of things. I think they should have access to internet when it comes to, and they can, Haran and Kari know you can restrict access to certain sites. I mean, China knows that.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I think they should be able to get on the internet for educational purposes, maybe research their cases, but to have a phone and to be interacting with people, I mean, what's the downside?
Let me tell you something. You know how easy it is for a fucking prisoner? You know how easy it is for a fucking prisoner to get a fucking cell phone? You know what I mean? That shit is not as hard as people try to make it sound. Prisoners got access to so many shit.
Was up, it was kind of hard.
Just look, listen, if you have all you need is just to know the guy, all you need to do is know the right guy, know the right people, be cool with the right people, and you can get damn near anything in there. You know, damn near anything. Cell phone, steroids, any fucking thing you want in there. Yeah. And look, listen, they got a lot of fucking privileges that you and I don't fucking have. So guess what? If you're cooking one weekend because there's no AC, hey, look, it's par for the course, nigga. You was on TikTok last week. Week. Trying to set yourself up. Wait, 1 second. You was on TikTok last week setting yourself up at home, but when you get out, because that's what they're doing. They've been trying to get cool and have a little setup before they get out. You was over here setting up your situation before you get out, and now you worrying about goddamn AC.
I had to pay a mint for my braces. It was worth it. But I had to pay a fucking mint. Okay, I'm telling you, I'd be like this. Oh, you want? Okay.
Couple weeks ago, I met a dude that was on Life After Lockup, that was out there with his girl. You know, he thought he was the man. I didn't agree with it. I was like, man,
I'm hungry, but what you gonna cook for a good man? I'm hungry.
Listen, Haran, all this stuff you're saying they sneak in, they can't sneak in an AC, obviously, because it's
they can't.
That's a big ass.
Because that's what I would want.
Them little power fans with the handheld fans. Maybe a girl could bring that in her ass.
Somebody probably rigged some type of fan. Somebody rigged some shit.
Look, listen, never underestimate the ingenuity of a prisoner who's going to be in there for a very long fucking time. These motherfuckers know how to make batteries. They make hooch. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers with no engineering degree, no.
Yeah, they were saying that's how they charge their phones. They actually made batteries in there.
Yeah,
like
them niggas start fires with no smoke. They figured out how to start fires with no smoke.
They're doing some Faraday shit.
You dropped out of. Let me get this straight, sir. You dropped out of 7th grade. And for some strange reason, you mastered electrical engineering within 6 fucking months.
Yo, niggas are MacGyver in jail.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
I saw some shit where niggas like, you can use the aluminum from this chip bag with the metal from this nail clipper to.
And they're correct though, because it makes sense. It's like, that's how electrical engineering works. Like,
All right, guys. So we didn't get to one story, but I'll save it for tomorrow. Jonathan Major's developments in that case. We can hit it tomorrow. Because it's still growing. It's interesting. The developments on that story are very, very interesting. I'm starting to put a little conspiracy eye on it, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all. But I'm like,
Jen, you saw the Rolling Stone article, right?
Yeah, I was like, this is looking
Yeah, it was like,
not only Rolling Stone, and I was like, this is looking weird. But anyway, we'll get into it
yeah,
tomorrow.
right.
Thank you so much, chat, for holding us down and your amazing comments. You guys were on fire tonight. We appreciate you. We can't do this without you. Thank you for the super chats. Please come back tomorrow. Hit that like and subscribe on your way out. Panel, if there's nothing else we got to talk about, let's get the fuck up out of here. Thank you so much for your time and your gorgeous faces. And we will see you mañana. I love you all. Good night.
Yes, indeed.
Hit that like and subscribe on your way out for mama. And I appreciate you being here. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Be good. And if you can't be good, be careful. Good night, guys.